Hello, I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I am Andrew DeWolf.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew to like musical theater. And today, we've got not just one, but two very special guests.
Two guests? I feel like it's been a very long time since we had two special guests.
It has been a minute. It's a different feel, but today we're welcoming returning guest Alan Seals back to the show. Thank you, Alan, for joining us. And also, super duper special guest, we have Tom Allen Robinson from Head Over Heels. Ah!
Okay, first of all, you've already said my name wrong.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right. You're not the first.
I'm so sorry.
The last. It's Tom Allen Robbins.
I don't know why my phone automatically corrected it to Robinson.
That you know what?
I have
Damn,
all the
you
names.
correct.
I copied directly from Alan's email.
Yeah. No, it's definitely
listen, my name is also Tom Allen Robbins, but you've been saying my name wrong the entire time, too.
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
Jess, my name is also
Oh, my God. It's been 3 years, and no one's told me. Is Bree's name?
Bree's name is Tom Allen Bree Robbins.
The chaos has begun, and I am just so thankful that you're both here for it. It's great. I'm so happy to have you both here.
Tom probably won't toot his own horn. I'm going to toot Tom's horn too, because he's also in the upcoming reopening of Little Shop. That's going to be.
That's why I have this elegant mustache. It's my moosh stash to play Mushnik.
Mustache.
Oh,
Chaos has reigned, but you know what, Tom? Why don't you tell us what we're talking about this week?
We were talking about Head Over Heels, the Go-Go's musical. Woo! Which I was lucky enough to be a member of the cast of which.
And you were fantastic in it.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely
I certainly had a fantastic wig. I had a Pink Boy wig. And
What is the I want to call it the skirt thing, but the thing that men of that time period wore. I know what my
skirt thing.
The thing that swoops under with the. Your character
Pantaloons.
Pantaloons? Is that what they're
I
called?
basically wore a large coat that went down just past the butt and like some pants.
Why in my head I have like the idea of a mushroom
I think that's
around
just,
your knees.
I think that's just the shape of my body.
I don't think that happened, Alan.
Yeah.
what is going on right now?
I think you've been fantasizing about me.
It's going like the look on Alan's eyes, like, oh my God.
I told you I'm here for the ride. Stuff's just spewing out of my mouth right now that I have no control over.
On that note, cue the music, Bree.
Head over heels, where should I go? Can't stop myself, out of control. Head over heels, no time to think. Looks like the whole world's out of sync. Head over heels, where should I go? Can't stop myself, out of control. Head over heels, no time to think. Looks like the whole world's out of sync. Head over heels.
So Head Over Heels is a musical with music and lyrics by the Go-Go's, an incredible band. And its book is by Jeff Whitty, who conceived the show and wrote the original book, and then was adapted by James Magruder after Whitty left the show. It is based on The Countess of Pembroke's Arcadia. It premiered on July 26, 2018 at the Hudson Theater and closed January 6, 2019 after 32 weeks. And it's notable because making her Broadway debut as Pythio, Peppermint became the first transgender woman to originate the principal role on Broadway. Woo! Which is incredible. And the plot of this is, according to Playbill.com, a mashup of posh and punk. Head Over Heels is an unpredictable Elizabethan romp about a royal family that must prevent an oracle's prophecy of doom. In order to save their beloved kingdom, the family must embark on an extravagant journey wrought with mistaken identities, jealous lovers, sexual awakening, scandal, and self-discovery, where everything and everyone is not quite what it seems.
Well put.
Andrew, what do you think of that right away? First impressions.
Yes.
I mean, I think the first thing I said when I started it is it's a Shrek-themed musical.
Wow.
It's got
Wouldn't Shrek be the Shrek thing musical?
you would think so, but
He also categorizes Something Rotten as a Shrek-themed musical.
So basically anything with period costumes.
Yeah, and modern references.
period costumes and modern references. I feel like Shrek started it, and we're perfecting it. We're still working on it,
I'd argue Into the Woods kind of started it, then Shrek kind of...
No.
Really? Oh, damn. So, Tom, I'm very interested in your history with the show from the very beginning.
Well, I wasn't. The very first production was at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, and I was involved in that. But I was, from the very first reading that Michael Mayer did of it, I've been playing Demetus. So it was interesting because I was there while the play developed, because it changed quite a bit. Mm-hmm. The one that was done in Ashland, I recall being told was over 3 hours long. And parts of it, because I did read it, were basically incomprehensible. But it was an amazing transformation into what opened on opening night that we were able to achieve. And it was, yes, it was James Magruder, but it was also Michael Mayer, who's incredibly collaborative, really was asking the cast for their input. And we were all trying to discover together what the meaning of this piece was and why we were doing it, and why there was a musical with music by the Go-Go's and a book from the 16th century by Sir Philip Sidney. And, we managed to come up with something that was meaningful to us, that made it worth doing and made it a wonderful experience and made it deeply meaningful to all of us. And if you want me to get into that, I will. It could go on for a while. Yeah.
I am very interested in the progress of the previews to debut and all of that. So that is something I want to go into a little bit later. But next I want to go with Alan's history with the show. Like, Alan, what did you first think of the show? What is your history with it?
So I through Google, I go see a lot of shows for that role. See a lot of shows, do a lot of previews and whatnot. And again, sort of, I wanted Andrew's take on this, because the first thing I think of is a musical about the Go-Go's set in Elizabethan times with modern day references. This is going to be either really good or just really not so good. And I went in, and Tom, I'm sure you've heard this before, like people wanting to go in and not like it. And I walked in and I was like, okay, this is cool. And it started. And then as soon as the story kicked in, I said, this is refreshing. This is new. This is original. This is completely pushing the boundaries, and I love it. And I did everything I could to help promote it and say positive things about it.
Thank you.
It was phenomenal.
And that's the grand consensus. Before I dive into a show, I like to run on to the Twitters, because our audience tends to skewer a little younger. We do tend, and Alan's looked at our demographics. He knows this. So we do have like a very eclectic young audience.
Personal.
And every single person, I was like, what are your general thoughts about Head Over Heels? And everyone loved it. And I saw a lot of people being like, I felt like I was seen, and not in a bad way. I felt like it was a story about me where I'm not the one being persecuted, and a lot of those things from a lot of people that are very young, and the show didn't get a chance, which is how I feel about it too. Like, I feel like it wasn't given a proper chance. And let's just say I love the show. The show is so great, and I am not a big fan of jukebox musicals to begin with. So it was a hard sell from the start, and it sold me.
I think Jeff Whitty was absolutely a genius when he came up with this idea. I don't know what he was on, but when he walked in and said to them, I want to take this 16th century story by Sir Philip Sidney and add music by the Go-Go's, and they said, okay. I mean, it's unimaginable. And yeah, you think, why would this work? How could this work? And yet they just kept feeding each other. And it was amazing how the songs just fit into the story and amplified what we were trying to do so perfectly. And the Go-Go's were great. I mean, they were hanging around, and some of them were there a lot and were really helpful and supportive. But yeah, it was great. Do you want me to talk about why I think people were so moved by it?
Of course.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. And stop me if I just start talking too long. When we were breaking this show down in rehearsals and going through the scenes and trying to figure out what it meant and why we care about this kingdom going on this journey, to find their lost beat. Okay, we're like, what the hell does that mean? That was the biggest nut to crack. And what we finally decided, and I don't know if this is what Jeff Whitty intended, but this is what we came up with as a cast, was that the beat was about the idea that our society had grown ossified. We were static, and we had tried to hold on to the value system that we had adopted long ago, way past its expiration date. And as a result, there were people in our kingdom that no longer were able to be truly part of our society. We were not accepting of everyone in our society. And in order to evolve, we had to go on a spiritual journey, which in this case turned into an actual physical journey to discover a new system of values that would be more inclusive, more accepting, more loving, kinder. And the play is filled with examples of these kinds of characters. I mean, Bonnie, who was just fantastic as the princess, and she'll be the first to talk about the fact that growing up, she would never have expected to be cast as a princess because she doesn't look like what the theater industry would consider an actress that is appropriate to play the beautiful princess that everyone assumes is the most beautiful woman in the land, that the men are panting over and killing each other to marry. And she said it was so wonderful for her to get to play that role. And then you've got Peppermint, obviously, who made theater history and was fantastic in the role. That's what the play meant to us. And the people that came to see it, that many of them came multiple times. We had some people that came, I can't imagine how they afforded it, time after time after time. It meant so much to them. I don't know that there had been another musical that made such a point of elevating people that had not been allowed to be themselves and to be portrayed in that way.
You left out so many other great examples because Peppermint's character is non-binary. Mm-hmm. So there's that example. There's cross-dressing. There's bisexuality. There's like every kind of person across the spectrum of sexuality and gender identity was represented in this show.
And then it takes like the tropes from Shakespeare, like the subtextual tropes, and then makes them text. It's incredible where you can kind of get in those theatrical references and then be like, no, we're going to go 3 steps further because that's what we want to do. It's so incredible.
Yeah. And my character, who as a young man was married to Peppermint's character, discovered that my spouse was not who I thought I had married, and that I did not accept their sexuality, and I banished her. And when she comes back, she is basically a different person. And now I have grown wise enough to accept her. And, we reunite, and now we're happy, and life is wonderful. And so happy ending, which reminds me of a terrible story where I was doing an interview with one of the members of the cast of Newsies. I was playing a part in that. And I said, the reason I like playing Teddy Roosevelt so much is that I give everyone in the show their happy ending.
Oh, no.
It didn't even hit me what I had said. She gave me a little side eye, but we kept going. And well.
You're not going to put that to print, are you?
That's the pull quote. Teddy Roosevelt gives everyone a happy ending. The New York Times.
You know what? That's a great transition. Andrew, you just recently dove into this. Do you have any history with the Go-Go's at all?
Speaking of happy endings.
Yeah, speaking of happy endings, do you have a history with the Go-Go's?
Every time I go on vacation, I get the song Vacation stuck in my head for no real reason. I just start singing it. I don't know. That's kind of my only history with the Go-Go's.
Which is great. But were you shocked when because I don't usually give you context before you dive into these shows, when you started hearing like all these songs and you're like, oh, okay.
At first I thought it was going to be just like taking songs from stuff, but then I realized that they were all Go-Go's songs, and I was like, oh, it's a Go-Go's show. That makes sense.
What, like, the setting and all that, like, they feel like such diametrically opposed things, but it kind of worked hand in hand by the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of shows and things that take this sort of approach. I already referenced Shrek, but you know, there is others, of course. But I like it. The, you know, what would you call it? Anachronistic sort of elements of it. It does work really well, and it makes it endearing, charming. You know, I enjoy it.
Which is great.
It's a fun show. It's not like a heady show where you got to go in and really think about the lofty ideas. You just get to go in and enjoy it and have fun for what it is, which you need that. You know, that's a good thing.
And especially like in the COVID times, like listening to this album is like so much fun. Like, especially
Absolutely.
a lot of the orchestrations and interpretations of these songs that everyone knows. It's not just copy pasted in from like the Go-Go's albums, a la Mamma Mia, where it's like, this is basically just Dancing Queen from the Gold album. Let's be fair.
Yeah,
that's Tom Kitt. Tom Kitt was the musical arranger. He was fantastic. He's such a talented guy.
So now I want to dive into the actual putting it together sections of it. Like, were there things that are in the final show or things that were in previews that you missed, or big changes that came up to make this show what it is today?
There was nothing that was left out that I thought should have been in. I mean, that was the great thing about the process. Michael Mayer's so smart. And because, I mean, we were all like giving input, I mean, it really was like a group effort to figure out, you know, what worked and what didn't work. Plus, he's obsessive about the details, and, you know, he would keep the tech staff there every night after the show for hours, talking about every tiny little detail. So no, I mean, by the time we got to the end, I mean, you know, our only regret is that somehow it never found the audience it should have, and I guess they never quite figured out how to market it to the right audience. But
yeah.
No, we were happy with what we wound up with. And a lot of stuff did change from the first reading. I mean, there was a couple of whole characters disappeared.
I think it was ahead of its time a little bit, because when you look at shows like this, and then I think it was the season right before Prom, right? The Prom.
It came right after us.
Yeah.
Right. So you have, again, that was a marketing challenge too, because I know this is the Head Over Heels episode, but I'm going to lump it in here. In that, when you have a show where you're like, all right, tourist, what do you want to go see? Cabaret and Wicked, things that you know about, that you've heard things about, or shows about lesbians, and that damn cricket. So
yeah, right. I told you to throw you off.
Right. I just heard the cricket. I was like, freaking cricket, frigate. Yeah. So like, again, the marketing thing, I was asking the producer once of Prom, I said, how come in the marketing materials, none of this has to do with like what the show's actually about? She's like, well, when you ask somebody who's never seen a Broadway show if they want to go see two shows about lesbians, or if they want to go see Wicked, they're going to choose Wicked. So how do you market it? And I think Head Over Heels had sort of felt the same pitfall, and it of course had mixed reviews. And like the fan base is great. We already talked about this. Yes. People who have seen it and love it, and they see it over and over and over again because they feel seen in a way that, you know, you're not going to get in Wicked or in Lion King, or I mean, you know,
unless you're a witch.
Unless you're a witch or a lion cub. Yes. A lion cub, right?
And
Royalty.
I do want to add, because I always forget this, that this was a show requested by one of our patrons, Leighton Ackles, who this show really spoke to them. That was like a really big show for them. So it is still touching, and it still is going on. And that's one of the great things about theater is once a show leaves Broadway, it's not gone forever. It's going to have a life outside of this. Community theaters are going to have a blast with this. High school theaters, oh, it's made for them. Like, this show is going to outlast Wicked, in my opinion. Like, Wicked, it'll be good until that movie comes out. Then who cares about Wicked? Head Over Heels, 20 years from now.
Here's some big predictions.
Nostradamus, musicals with Nostradamus.
There were a bunch of productions that were already happening when the pandemic shut down. Head Over Heels was already running in 5 or 6 productions that I knew about. So yeah, I think when things pick up again, I think a lot of people will be doing it.
And I'm excited to see it. I as soon as it comes in my area, I'm gonna buy like 3 or 4 tickets. You know, I want to go see the show a lot and dance and have fun. And that's what I want from theater. I don't want to see parade anymore. I want to have some fun.
Just wants to see parade. He's lying.
I do. I love parade, but come on, the Go-Go's.
True.
I do. Yeah.
I do think it's roundabout time that we get into some of the controversial things. So usually on this show, we have a segment with our producer called Reviews, which is where we read the New York Times reviews about the show we're covering, and then we make fun of them because New York Times reviews rarely make sense. But this is one of the few times where a New York Times review of a Broadway show caught some heat and might have had some ramifications on the meme of this show, Ben Brantley's career, which is interesting to see. So it's time for Previews, guys. We're going to take a look at the New York Theater Critic when this show first came out and compare our opinions to those of the New York Theater Critic. Andrew, are you ready to bring out Ben Shapiro Brantley for us?
Oh, God. It's sadly fitting this time, isn't it?
It is.
I just want to say, last time I was a guest on Musicals with Cheese, Bree was also not here, so I'm taking this personally now.
Yes, Bree.
Bree is dodging.
Does everyone who work on the show have to be named after a cheese?
No, but that should be a requirement for future applicants.
I'd like a Ritz with a slice of macadamia, please.
Oh, no, that is not a good cheese name. The Wolf actually suits a cheese name, but McAnally looks too close to McAnally. We can't deal with that.
Yeah, we cannot put that with crackers.
Marketing-wise, it's harder to market than Head Over Heels.
All right, go for it. Go for it.
Head Over Heels was hard to market. I don't know. I feel like it's a pretty simple show. You could get people to see it. I don't know.
And I think if you market it on a lot of the groundbreaking things it did, it would have found the audience. But marketers aren't always the most intelligent people, I say as a person that works in marketing.
Speaking from personal experience,
Yeah,
I am not the most
knowledge.
intelligent person I know.
I am definitely not the most intelligent person I know. There's a lot more like me. Don't you worry.
All right.
Andrew, I will interrupt you quite a few times in this, so don't be thrown off guard.
Okay.
But what do we got?
New York Times critic Ben Brantley said of the original Broadway production, "These assorted role reversals are overseen by the wise oracle Pythio Peppermint, a contestant on RuPaul's Drag Race, described in the program as the first transgender woman to create a principal role on Broadway. Pythio identifies as a non-binary plural. Dematis, Tom Allen Robbins.
No, it's
the
Robinson. I'm sorry.
Wait, no. You're
so
not
sorry.
getting me on that. You're not getting me on that.
I'm so sorry.
The king's viceroy and father of Mopsa finds himself strangely drawn to her. I mean, them.
Okay, we're gonna stop right there. That was the line that is transphobic as fuck. Whether intentional or not, you should have thought about that. It's not even a joke, nor is it intended to be. And Ben Brantley caught a lot of shit for that. I don't really want to read the rest of the review because it is just more that pithy kind of angry stuff. But this brought a lot of petitions and a lot of reply essays calling for Ben Brantley's retirement. And he did inevitably change the review to just basically write in non-specified gender and just kind of wrote the name. But I think it just goes to show the entire attitude towards this show by the New York theater critics, especially Ben Brantley, and how kind of thrown out there it was and how very little time was put into sitting on this. And we bring this up quite a bit in our show about how New York Times reviews have to be written like the next day after you see a show. You have absolutely no time to actually sit and resonate and think about what a show is. I have a hard time on this show, even when I have days in advance to kind of have an educated opinion on what I just saw. So
we're not a review show, and
no,
people
we're
should
not.
Take what we say.
Educated is the key word there. We don't expect that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, never from the show.
Not out of this show. No.
Nor do we promote ourselves that way. We have the advertising for that. But I do think that because as dumb as it is, the New York Times review does have a lot of weight to it and a lot of jobs on the line to it. And just kind of writing mean, gross things. And there's other like really kind of body shamey stuff, referring to Bonnie Milligan, correct?
Yes,
Milligan, in here too, which we're not going to look at. But this was the thing that I think has
gross. I don't.
Yeah. But there was a Twitter uproar, deservedly. He wrote, what is it called when you have it on your phone? Like a notes app apology about like my bad. And then a few months later, he resigned. And now we make fun of him every week on the show. I don't agree with his review. I don't think any of us do. And I am willing to bet that most of the general consensus of the public don't agree with it. And it's worth noting because it actually did have some effect on the New York theater critics, and hopefully we're going to get some more interested younger minds in there, you know, and maybe Jesse Green and all of them other people should let some more diverse voices in. And that might be our most serious previews of all time. Andrew, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't think we've ever read one that's this mean-spirited.
Yeah, when you're talking about people's personal identities, it gets very serious. And this was pre-COVID, pre-2020, the shit show that was 2020, and the racial and all the awakenings that have been happening in the last several years, right? This was pre all of that, and so there was still a lot to talk about. There still is a lot to talk about, but this was kind of the beginning of people saying, "Wait a second, you can't talk like that anymore. That's not cool."
I mean,
and that's basically what the show was about. I mean, that was the whole point of the show, was to be accepting and kind and loving to everyone, no matter how they express their identity, and to make a snide comment about it was so uncalled for.
Yeah, and I mean, it's good that we don't have to worry about him in the future, but it's the Ben Brantleys of the world that hinder the Scott Rudins of the world and all the other folks of the world that the toxicity kind of radiates toward one another and attracts one another. So the less of that we can have in the theater community, I'd say the better. And I feel like everyone would probably agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just the theater community, it's everywhere.
Yes, but this show is about the theater community.
Yes. Well, I just mean, think about everything that's happening, right? You've got, Scott Rudin's out and Ben Brantley's out, and it just, people are, the cancel culture sometimes can go a little too much, but being called out for being a complete dick and not accepting of others, I think, is something that we as a society are learning we don't have to tolerate anymore. We don't have to feel like we have to do what people are intimidating us into doing to be better people.
It's not cancel culture when you do something bad and then you get fired for it.
It's not cancel culture when there's consequences for your own actions.
Yeah,
that's
consequences for my actions.
But I'm better than everyone else. How dare you? Don't you know who I am?
I'm Jesse McAnally. They named cheese after me.
Very true. We've done it.
We've done it. We have done it. Oh my goodness, this is a blast and a half. All right. Do you mind if we go into a mid-show and then we can talk about some songs? Does that sound good for everyone else?
What happens if we say no? We do mind.
If you say no, we have to just keep going. This never ends.
It's like in spelling bee when someone keeps getting the answer right. You got to keep setting them up there. You can't just let the show not progress.
Would this be a good time for me to eat some cheese?
Yes,
absolutely.
For those of you only listening to the audio, Tom brought cheese with us, and Alan brought a child.
I'm not going to eat this one, although he is very delicious.
What flavor?
What flavor? What?
He's delicious.
He's a Gouda, cheddar,
SpaghettiOs.
McAnally.
What?
And that's everyone's favorite cheese,
That's true.
It's hard to market, but it's everyone's favorite. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show, but we've got a shill at you. Today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. Andrew, what's Patreon?
Oh boy. Patreon is where you can go if you want to give us money. We have extra content on there as well. We have like commentaries and other things of that nature.
And also, there's a weekly breakdown of Schmigadoon with me and our editor, Liz Eston. So you can check that out once a week. We also got a commentary of the Rent movie just released there. You also can see all of our wonderful faces, Alan, Tom's, Andrew's, mine. In fact, I can just see Tom's just doing backflips and doing jumping jacks and all around. Oh my God. How did he do that? Oh, you should have joined the Olympics. Oh my God. And I can just see right on the tip of Tom's lips, I can see him really just wanting to say it. He just wants to say, join their Patreon. They're great. He really wants to say it.
Join their Patreon. It's great.
I got him to do it. He didn't say no. He said the words.
I am not holding a gun to his head at this moment.
At this moment.
But he knows if he steps out of line, the gun comes back out.
Yeah. That required no financial commitment on my part, did it?
No, none.
It caused drowsiness.
Yeah. But our current patrons over at Patreon are Melissa Goldman, Terry Needleman, John Donna, Leighton Ackles, who requested this episode. Thank you, Leighton. Danielle Renix, Jess the Stampede, Owen Cassidy, Tess Gear, Fire September, Monica Thoreau, Mina Maneri, Brent Black, Haley Murray, Nathaniel Stacy Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Carrie Ahern, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanals, heck you, I go by Elijah now. Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Temple Am, Kyle Summers, Janae C, Scoot and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Felice R, Liz Lim, Alison Stuller, Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, John Vanals, Thesbian, Ren Cullen, Wait in the Wings, Spectacle Machine, Jacob Stroop, Raphael, Martinez Savaz, Robert Benjamin, Rachel T, Jessica T, Genevieve Hartnett, Cass, Mitchell Young, Chai Teacup, Katie McDonough, Timothy Keys, Jeffrey Machado, Jacques, Ten Venossen, R. Elliott, Chris Marcotte, Katie Turberg, Mimu, Kiji Marie Anastasio, Layla, RJ Rija, Sebastian Canino, Cinemageddon Reviews, Avon Regan, Olivia Nicholson, and Lindsay Keynes. They give us a little financial support that helps us keep the lights on here at Musicals with Cheese. And if you're going to sleep through all this, better pay us.
Did you say Fire September?
Fire of September is their name.
I love that. That is the best name.
We got a lot of really cool names. Like, I think my favorite is Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes. There's some great ones out there. And some of them will change them up on us just so that we have to try to pronounce them. I'm pretty sure a lot of those code names are just like, why are you doing this to me?
I can't pronounce.
I also want to point out, Andrew, have you ever told Jesse he looks like he's got a blonde ponytail with the C of cheese above his head?
I look
like, go back to where you were, like your normal place on the mic, and then turn slightly to your left. Now you've got a blonde ponytail.
I do. I'm beautiful. Finally, it looks like a messy bun, though. It looks a little bit like a messy.
It does
bun.
look like a bun. It does look a little bit like a bun.
I got a man bun. You know what? That just means I need to get an actual man bun
Cheese
so
bun.
I can finally. We did it. We did it, team.
And it's
all right.
All right, guys. Let's get back
time.
to the show.
See the people walking down the street, fall in line, just watching all their feet. They don't know where they want to go, but they're walking in time. They got the beat, they got the beat, they got the beat. Yeah, they got the beat.
We Got the Beat is a great opening number. Oh my goodness. Like, that sums up both the idea of it, and it's a song that's deceptively important, where it sets up both the main MacGuffin, which is the beat, and sets up normality. It does all the things that an opening number should do, but I've also heard it on the radio like 500 times.
Yeah.
They've changed the context of it, though.
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably their biggest hit.
Wow. I mean, it's an incredible song. How is it to perform every night, to like be a part of this?
I mean, that in terms of being a part of it, basically I would come on at the very end in the back line. Hang on, honey, could you wait until we're done recording to unload the dishwasher? Sorry.
Bree, keep that in. In fact, play it twice. In fact, for the rest of this, just play a bunch of dishwasher noises. So.
Oh, no.
If you could get crickets unloading the dishwasher, even better.
So I'd be in the very back row, dancing for all I was worth from the waist up and desperately, trying to keep up with the dancers in front of me and trying to hide behind them. But I mean, the dancers in that show were unbelievable. So I would just stand in the wings and watch them, basically. And also, I had to come out and like the first thing I had to do was sing something that was so incredibly high, it was way out of my range. So I mean, every night it was like so much stress and tension until I got through that line and just screamed it out. But yeah, it was a great opening number, and the audience loved it.
For that, I mean, there's an old anecdote that Patti LuPone tells where if she did not get like some first note in Evita correct, she knew she was just not going to enjoy the rest of the performance. Was that the truth for you in those first notes?
I think that's probably true, because if my voice was tired or if I was feeling a little sick and I couldn't like get those first notes out, it was going to be a long night. As a matter of fact, I did one performance where I literally had laryngitis and I called in sick, but it happened to be the one performance they were going to record to have a record for one of the producers. And she called me and begged me to do the show, even with laryngitis, just so I would be in the recording. So I just croaked and faked my way through that whole show. It had to be the most painful thing to watch and listen to. And it's recorded so that she can pull it out anytime she wants and watch my shame all over again.
Is there any other stories like that from performing this show? Because these songs are not easy to sing. Like even humming along on our radio, these songs aren't easy to sing.
They're all written for people with incredibly high voices, which every Broadway show seems to be now. There's no baritones left on Broadway.
That's why I'll never be on Broadway. That's the reason.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I don't have a particularly high voice, but I've had to learn how to somehow get up there in any way, shape, or form that I can, by hook or by crook, or I'd never work again. But yeah, we all sometimes you squeak a little bit or you crack a little bit, but you go on. Life goes on.
I get to speak as mostly an audience member. I have never had strains of being on Broadway or anything like that. When things like that happen, it makes me relate more to the person on stage a lot. Like it honestly is endearing and it makes me enjoy the entire show more. So I don't know if that helps you as an actor where it's like, oh, I didn't quite get that one. My night's ruined. Instead, it's like, okay, time to keep going. Let's go.
I feel better now.
Yeah, it is. It's happened only a handful of times, but every time it's happened, I'm like, okay, you're human, and that makes me like you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's always been the way it is when something goes wrong on stage. Most of the audience loves it because it's live theater. It proves it's live theater. Nobody else who comes to the show will ever get to experience that moment.
Yes, unless God forbid someone sneaks in an iPhone, and that's what the children watch for 500 years.
And tries to plug it in an onstage plug that isn't actually real.
Oh no!
What show was that? That was
Hand to God.
Oh God.
Did you hear about this?
I've heard about it. It's incredible. Tell Andrew.
The Hand to God set was like I think it was the basement or some room in a church, in like a Sunday school thing, and so it had fake electrical outlets or real electrical outlets that didn't work because they were part of the set. And before a show, this person on one of the first row or two, like literally crawled up on stage to like maneuver and get his plug into, charge his phone in the plug on the set. And like, this made the news because someone's literally trying to charge their phone on a set, but it doesn't work.
Must have been pissed at the end of the show when he can't even call his Uber.
There should be spikes that shoot up from the floor at the edge of the stage if anyone tries to crawl up there, because somehow we have to maintain that distance.
Yeah, that is something that I'm curious about for like a live theater. They are the only ones that really have to deal with this. Rowdy audience members, like trusting that either someone's going to handle them or that you're protected, especially nowadays when just like the airflow needs to be protected to our wonderful actors. What are your thoughts on that, Tom?
God, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be like from now on. I mean, I don't remember ever being in a situation where I was in a show and we felt danger from the audience on stage, like they were going to run up on stage. We've certainly had annoying members of the audience, putting their feet up on the stage and putting their programs on the stage and, making noises and talking and watching their phones or their iPads. You can't do a blackout anymore to start a show because so many people's phones are lit up that it just lights up the whole theater. And it's so annoying. You're trying to creep out in the dark and, get to your spot with your little glow tape so that when the lights come up, you'll be discovered. And it's like as bright as day because everyone's iPhone is on. I don't know what people think. Well, what can you do? This is the world we live in.
You know what? We can do it. We're going to have a PSA right now. Audiences, get your shit together. You're ruining theater for everyone. It's all your fault.
Hold on, don't say anything. The crickets got the response. That's about how well that joke landed.
Oof.
Ooh. Like clear. Hold on. There we are.
All right.
We got it.
Is the cricket recording their own audio, or are we gonna have to just use?
Well, it's not even like I'm being actually fairly sincere here. I know it kind of read as a joke, but I'm being fairly sincere. Audiences are probably the one thing that's stopping most people from enjoying live theater anymore. It's not the quality of the theater as much as the quality of your audience, especially touring productions, which are a good majority of what everyone outside of New York or like any of the big cities are getting. Because touring audiences aren't always the most favorable, I think, on average. I think last thing I saw before closure was Jesus Christ Superstar, and someone was just mumbling and angrily 3 seats next to me very loudly.
Tom, as the most experienced Broadway actor in the room here, tell everyone listening at home how well you can see them from the stage while they are on their phones. Because my impression is that they feel like they cannot be seen.
We see you so well. We see you so clearly. It's because you are literally putting a spotlight on your own face. You are in a dark room shining a spotlight on your own face, and we are standing there looking straight at you, just thinking, I can't believe you're being such a jerk, that you paid all that money for this ticket, and you're sitting there looking at your phone.
But can you equally as well see the engaged audience member that can't take their eyes off the stage?
Well, yeah, that's what we love. I mean, we love seeing people that you can clearly see are enjoying the show and are into it. That's what it's all about.
Got to end with the positivity there. Like, man, because I don't know about you guys. I don't want to take my eyes off the stage. I paid money for this.
Yeah.
Whether I'm loving the show or it's like, the school production could be better. I'm there, guys.
Elementary school production could be improved.
Look, this 5th grader doesn't quite have the range for Elphaba, but I'm going to overlook that on this particular production.
Aristocats Kids production just isn't doing it for me.
Aristocats Kids, assuming there's an Aristocats Adults version. Then
there isn't. We did an episode on it.
Yeah, there's only Aristocats Kids and Aristocats Junior. One's an hour long, one's a half hour long. No Aristocats Normal.
Oh boy. What about Oliver?
That's got to change.
Remember Oliver the cartoon? Or was that
Company?
Was
Oliver
it a cat?
Oliver and Company? That's what it was. Oliver and Company.
Billy Joel dog. He wears a hot dog tie. It's amazing.
Yes.
I'm the only person who remembers this. Don't worry.
I remember it because of the song. What song? The Billy Joel song did he sing in there?
Why should I worry?
Why should I worry? Yeah, that. Yeah.
Did he sing it in every episode?
It was a movie.
It was a movie.
Okay.
Imagine if they had Billy Joel on retainer for like a kids Disney show.
Oh my goodness. I would watch that. That'd be sick.
Oh my god. So
we talked about one song. Let's go.
Yeah, I know. Tom, what's your favorite song in the show? Like, what was the
Oh no, don't ask me that. Don't ask me that.
Come on.
No, there's not. I don't have a favorite show.
Can't pick a favorite.
No, but it's a terrible thing to ask me. I love the favorite song in the show is the one that I sing, and I didn't really sing a song in the show. I sang parts of a lot of songs, but I do sing a song on the album that was cut from the show, and they let me sing it on the album anyway, just because. Other than that, I had very little to sing on the album. So
contractually obligated.
That was my favorite, the one you could only hear on the album.
I mean,
I don't think I've heard it. I'll have to look this up.
You got to go back to the album.
Can we get a clip of this, Bree?
Bree, play a clip right here.
It has a lot to do with the first time that we met, the wild dance in your eyes, stories made up for what was never said. There may be some explanation why you feel the way you do. The world makes its rotations, but I just want to turn to you.
Oh my God, that was so incredible! Oh, outstanding
Thank you very much.
ovation.
Thank you very much.
Well, I get that it's kind of like choosing your favorite child there. I understand that. And of course, that is your favorite song, and understandably so. Was there any like, man, that should have stayed in? That should have been my song.
No. It was a noble attempt to get a song in that I could sing, but it didn't really. It was the only one that the song didn't really exactly fit the situation. We were really trying to squeeze it in with a shoehorn in it. It wasn't close enough, so it had to go.
And
I loved. I mean, there were so many great songs, and the people who sang them. I mean, Bonnie Milligan has a voice that it's unbelievable, and Rachel York and Jeremy Kushner, and I mean, they're fantastic. I could have listened to them for many more months than I got to.
And you should have, in all honesty.
Yeah.
What about you, Alan? What's your favorite song?
I gotta go with, I think, I mean, I know we've already talked about it, but the opening number, it sets it up. It sets up the entire thing. It's the most popular go-go song, as you were talking about. It's there to all of a sudden tell us we're in for a ride. Don't plug in your fucking phones in our set.
I almost with like the exact words they could have said that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got the beat. This charger's not live.
All right, Jess, I can give one.
Is yours Vacation?
Heck yes, Vacation. I love this song.
I feel like I didn't even need to ask you. Like, the strange thing is, I knew you were not going to pick anything story relevant. I just knew that before I even asked you.
I honestly, I still don't understand where this song fits in the story, but it's great.
But hey, it was Taylor Iman Jones, and she's fantastic, and she got to sing with mermaids, and you don't know where they came from either. But hey, it's great.
It's all there though, and they're on vacation, and I'm on vacation. It's great. Nobody else loved this one.
I do like that song, but the words of the song do make sense in the context of the plot, because she has run away from the caravan to get away from Bonnie's character, because she feels that their love is not going to work out, and she needs to get away, and she needs to take her mind off her, and that's what the song is about. She goes on vacation, but she can't stop thinking about the one she left behind.
Tom is also a writer, so you get a lot of exposition with his answers, but also extra analysis, which I particularly love. I love.
Thank you for the plug.
That is good analysis, though. That does explain why the song is there.
I honestly love like the two songs that end Act 1. Like Our Lips Are Sealed. Like, I'm surprised at how well that works as like an Act 1 closer. Like, anytime they turn a pop song into like a proper Act 1 closer, I'm always like, you did it. That was your one. That's a big thing, and like it has to live up to like the other things we got in our minds, like the Defying Gravities and the One Day Mores of the world. The thing that's gonna be like, there's more to come. Don't worry. Go get your puppeted corn and then come back, because there's so much more to see.
What kind of corn?
Get your what?
Puppeted corn.
You mean use the restroom, right, Jess?
Oh no, you took 2 poops before the show, so you don't have to.
Oh, you don't have to. Okay.
Who takes 2 poops?
You have to, or else you'll have to go during the half show.
I think we need to talk about diet after this episode is over.
No, we sell T-shirts of this. We have a musical with cheese kit, where like you have to expel your body before going to any Broadway show, because you don't want to miss anything at the start of Act 2.
The shows are 3 hours long. You're gonna have to poop at least twice.
Mm-hmm. Listen, peeing, okay. Like, you're not sitting on your bladder, but you're sitting on the backside. So like when I sit down, I don't have to poop. This is me.
Unless you're sitting on a toilet.
Unless I'm sitting on a toilet, that is true. Like, that's mental trick. Like,
I don't know.
If all the seats in
I don't trust this analysis.
If all the seats in the theater were made of toilets, what a different world it would be.
Okay,
Then
you know what?
everyone would be on their phone, though.
No, you're supposed to take your phone to the bathroom, Andrew. We said this 2 weeks ago.
Never borrow anybody's phone. You know why?
Exactly.
I mean, can we call the Hudson Theater and be like, hey, let's just put all the toilets into every seat and just see how it goes. See how it goes.
Just picture Patti LuPone coming out on stage for her opening number and seeing an entire audience sitting on toilets with cell phones.
I'm picturing it.
Stop taking pictures.
There'd be an explosion that would take out half of Manhattan.
Explosive diarrhea or something. I don't know.
No, Andrew. It's the explosion is Patti LuPone, not the explosive diarrhea.
How do we always get here, Jess?
This is not a classy show, Andrew.
Do you get to explosive diarrhea in every show?
More
show.
often than you'd think.
You know what I think is doing it? The cheese.
We're all lactose intolerant now.
Expert analysis again.
I mean, yes. Can we have you write our show? Like write an arc for our show?
You can't afford me.
Oh my gosh, this is such a but yeah, the two songs that end Act 1 are like incredible, like actual proper like Broadway numbers in a way that a lot of jukebox musicals tend to falter. I don't want to name names, but what we're covering next week has a lot of issues with this.
Margaritaville?
Margaritaville does have issues with that, but that's not really for us to say here, at least.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man? Actually, I think that Act 1 closer is fine.
Just none of the songs are good.
Wow.
Ow.
Okay.
Ow.
I know a lot of people that love Spider-Man. It's the worst
We're not
part.
friends. I'm not friends with those people.
Wow. You really hate Bono that much?
No, I don't dislike Bono. I dislike the lack of
Spider-Man.
effort that went into Spider-Man.
I want pictures of Spider-Man.
I don't know if it was lack of effort or too much effort.
I think it's effort in the wrong areas.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
I don't want Spider-Man to work in this town ever again.
J. Jonah Jameson was the producer of Spider-Man. Like, I know the only way I can ruin his image, a Broadway musical. No one gets out alive.
No, Spider-Man will never work in this town again. I'll make a Broadway musical out of him.
Yeah,
You know
okay.
Now, this episode is so much fun. I love it so much. I don't mean to cut it short, but I think we've gotten to a good point where we had a little. So I really want everyone to tell me, what is your overall thoughts on Head Over Heels and your cheese rating? Now, this is where the cheese in our title comes in. Alan, you're
boy.
first. You've done this before.
Oh my goodness. I'm the person who forgot to look at the menu when we all sat down at the restaurant. I can't go first. I'll
go first.
Okay.
Andrew, you want to go
That's
first?
fine. It's fine.
All
Sure.
right.
Overall thoughts. I don't know. Head Over Heels was fun. I thought it was a fun show. I mean, if you love the Go-Go's, you're gonna really love it. And if you like good representation in your musicals, you'll also really like it. And if you like plays from the 1600s, then you'll really like it. I don't know. There's a lot in here. It's good. It's fun. It's good fun. As far as a cheese rating, I'm going to give it, let's see. It's a Beehive Apple Walnut Smoked Cheese from Arcadia Premium Cheeses. Our Arcadia.
I see what you did there. You put more effort than none. Juliet, when you put the cheese rating in, give him like a thumbs up next to that. That was a good choice. You put in the bare minimum effort. I'm proud of you.
Also, apple walnut. It's there's a lot of different stuff mixed into the cheese there. I don't know.
That actually sounds good, and at least it's not cheddar, which apparently we use too much.
I will never do cheddar again.
Yeah, we've been shamed enough for that. Alan, are you ready yet?
Sure. So I want to echo Andrew's comments. I think it was a great show, as ahead of its time. I think if 10 years from now, when it's revived with all these people that are now all over the internet as transgender, non-binary, accepted characters, that it's going to be a completely different world. I really, really like that. Tom, what you were saying, the so many productions were already had started up, and when you can get high schoolers and regional productions in places that are not used to this kind of content to see it. It's going to start to become the norm, which it should. And then those people are going to grow up and become the teachers and the educators, and it's going to be this wonderful cycle. So as far as my cheese rating, I'm going to give it an Asiago. I think it's one of the best I've seen. It's different, and it deserves to be on a bunch of crackers.
Yeah, I agree.
Head over heels with crackers.
With crackers. Maybe not described that way. Tom, do you understand our cheese rating?
Jess.
I think I do.
I
see.
just had a happy ending moment, didn't I?
and I didn't give it to you. So
come full circle.
Bada bing.
He is a writer. He knows payoffs.
Well, Head Over Heels was one of my happiest theatrical experiences, and I loved everybody that was involved with it, and I missed them all. And I'm sorry that we didn't get a longer run and more time to be together. I would love to see it revived someday, but I'll be far too old to play Demetus by then. But I hope it continues to have a future life, and I hope people keep discovering it. And I hope everyone in the cast goes on to more fame and fortune. I saw Peppermint for a second on Schmigadoon, and I kept waiting for her to come back. I hope she's got a bigger part coming, but we'll see. And as far as a cheese rating, although I wish I'd had more time to really ponder and do some research, but I'll give it a 4-year cave-aged Gruyere. It's a smooth melting cheese, and it's nutty with a little umami.
Mommy.
He said it, so I didn't have to.
Mommy.
That is a great cheese. Honestly, that's great. And I love the fact that you had a visual aid. You know, if you're not on the Patreon, you're really not getting the full splendor of Tom's house, which is very nice. I love the greenery right next
Thank
to
you.
it. It is very nice setup.
This is my wife. She's got a green thumb. This is all the plants in the house are right here behind me. But I made that plate that's on the wall, that round blue plate.
Oh,
yeah.
I used to make pottery.
A writer and a potter. A scholar and a gentleman.
Writer / potter.
and a performer, don't forget that.
Oh, yes.
Writer / potter / performer.
That whole thing. You never work in the town again. I'll make a musical out of you.
He is a king on stage and a king in real life. Honestly, you were a joy to talk to, Tom. But wait, hold on. I got before I wrap things up, I got a cheese rating. Head Over Heels is amazing. I love it. I hope that if you guys can get out there safely and see a local production of this, or I'm not promoting any of those horrible things on the internet, but there are clips on the YouTubes if you want to take a look at how the original production performed and see how that slice in time was. But I say if you really do want to see this live, and if you can safely do so, please do. I highly recommend it. And there's literally nothing else that I can give this aside from a beautiful gourmet grilled cheese sandwich from a place called Grilled Cheese Heaven, because ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Come fall around, you know.
Yours was more of a stretch than mine was.
I mean, I really wanted heaven. I was really looking for, because I really wanted to do the heaven is a place on earth thing, and there's not like something called heavenly cheese.
Maybe there is if you translate it enough times.
All right, Alan, Tom, thank you both for coming on. I'm gonna make Alan promote all his stuff first because I wanted to end with Tom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so head over to the Broadway Podcast Network.com to get all of more musicals with cheese. Listen to me on my podcast, the Theater Podcast with Alan Seals. That's me at bpn.fm/TTP, because I love a good short link. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at theater_podcast. I almost just went into my own show's closing credits, which wouldn't apply here. So there we go. Over to you, Tom.
Wow, that was so impressive. Little Shop of Horrors reopens at the West Side Theater on 43rd Street on September 21st. So get your tickets. I'll be there. Jeremy Jordan, Christian Borle, Tammy Blanchard, fabulous cast. A lot of the original cast is coming back for the reopening, and it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to be mysterious. I do have a project that will be coming eventually on the Broadway Podcast Network, and I won't tell you what it is or tell you anything about it.
So
But yeah, Alan's been working on it with me, and you'll just have to keep your eyes peeled.
Legally,
There's
if we get
something.
more specific than that, Alan will kill us. Like, literally, he will murder us.
He will lunge through the screen and choke us.
There's someone at my door right now,
Oh,
just in
God.
case.
Is that the DPM staff?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yo, get away from me. No, that you guys were great gentlemen. I love you both very much. I appreciate your time today. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we go into our closing spiel? Anything else you want to promote? Alan, any future big guests you got coming on?
Goodness. This week, I don't know when this episode's dropping. Next week. Oh, great. So the episode that came out yesterday is with Tanisha Harris from The Voice this past season. She got a 4-chair turn went with Team Blake, Allison Luff, who was in Beautiful. Beautiful before a little stunt casting happened and that closed. Sierra Renee is coming up. J. Armstrong Johnson, Susan Kalechi Watson. I got the list. They're coming up. They're fun. They're good. And then when your project's out, I'm having a little Tom Robbins on my podcast too.
Woo-hoo. So much good things in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys for listening. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher at Musicals with Cheese. We're on BPN at Musicals with Cheese. It has a nice hot link. You'll find that in our little Twitter description. I don't have it memorized like good old Alan here. It doesn't mean it's less than. We're on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals. We're on Patreon at Musicals with Cheese, Instagram Musicals with Cheese, and YouTube page Musicals with Cheese. We have a patron-only podcast called Patreon with Cheese, hosted by myself and Liz Eston. We're currently doing Schmigadoon breakdowns once a week, which is great. I'm having a blast doing that. Show's good. You're missing out if you're not on Patreon. Shoot us an email at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Let us know if your name is also Tom Robbins.
Or Tom Robbins' son.
Or
There's gonna be people changing their Patreon names to that.
Yes.
Just so we
Oh
have-
God. Oh, you know what? If you make it this far, everyone just change your name to Tom Allen Robinson. Like Robinson, not Robbins. We don't want to change. We don't want to steal his name. Robinson. If you're listening this far, change your Patreon name.
Yes, the famous Tom Allen Robinson.
If you don't do it, you're not a real patron.
Oh boy.
I want that. Where we're just next week, we're just like Tom Allen Robinson. Tom Allen Robinson.
Tom
Allen
Robinson. Thomas
God.
Allen Robinson.
I want to say Tom Robinson is the character in To Kill a Mockingbird that's on trial.
Ooh, maybe don't do that. Maybe that is a bad taste bit then.
Someo's been
If that's
screaming
true,
out
we
the
didn't
entire
know it.
episode.
You're canceled. You canceled yourselves.
No, you fools!
Our title card is created by the amazing Jolene Casco. Go follow her on Instagram at Jolene Casco. She does incredible work. She also designed Andrew's band's logo. She's very, very talented. Our keeper of the cheese is the incredible Juliet Antonio. This show is produced by the incredible, the wonderful,
Really big shoe.
yeah, really big shoes to fill. Because we do miss her. She's gonna be gone for the rest of this month, but she'll be coming back. Don't worry. Brianna Jones, we love you. We miss you. Thank you for editing and producing the show. Good luck with this one.
I'm not coming on again unless Bria's here this next time.
You know what?
Assuming that I'm going to be invited back a third time. But
Alan,
she's
you always
dodging.
have a home here. You both always have a home here. Our theme song, like if you notice that we have different theme songs like every week, they're all created by the incredible Robin Nash at IOU Music UK. Please go send her some love on her Instagram and her YouTube page at ioumusic.uk.com. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not kicking us off for getting our guest name wrong or, dozens of other things that we should probably get kicked off for. Cyberbullying Ben Brantley every week. That's probably kickoff worthy.
you're not in the news for it yet. It's okay.
Yeah, it's coming though. Like the firing squad's getting prepared, and they're just gonna be like, "All right, Just Andrew, time to go."
He's got the blog article almost written up. So
I just love how these credits never end. We just keep going.
This happens every week. Is the worst part.
This keeps people going. Okay, I'm going to ask you one of my questions that I ask to end every podcast on mine. Every episode of my podcast, if you could only see one show for the rest of your life, but you could see it as many times as you want, what would you see? Andrew, you go first.
oh Lord. I don't know. I feel like that's a bad question because no matter what show I pick, I'd be sick of it in a week.
Tom,
I don't know.
Tom, are you constipated or are you thinking?
No, I'm thinking, and I think my answer is it doesn't matter what show. If I had to watch it every day of my life, I would kill myself, and then my life would be over anyway.
Like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, wait, do I want to watch the same show every single day, like forever?
Guys, we're making fun of Alan's format. This is how he ends every episode. We're poking holes in it.
Well, if you have me on your show, Alan, you know my answer now.
Look, I've done 180 something episodes, and no one's ever poked holes at this.
What's the best answer you've gotten so far?
The best? I don't know. The most common is Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, I'll pick the Spider-Man musical. Spider-Man Into the Darkness, After the Dark.
When I go poop using my phone.
Just
the musical.
What would you pick?
Oh, there's just so many choices. You know, Head Over Heels, Newsies, Is He Dead, The Lion King, Once Upon a Mattress.
Wait, you're
Sunset
reading my
Boulevard.
resume.
They're just all so good.
You know, speaking of my resume, I was like flipping through HBO Max, and I saw they just added A Different World. And like 50 years ago, I did a part on A Different World. And I said, I wonder if I could find me. So I go flipping through, and there's like they used a picture of me in the ad for the episode, and I'm only on for like 15 seconds. But yeah, you can find me now in A Different World on HBO.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
It's no longer not on my resume anymore.
A Different World. I'd put that on there too. Like these are all the things I would just watch over and
Yeah.
over again. There might just be one element to all of them that really just keeps me coming back. I'm not sure what it is, but
It's
it just
the Robinson factor.
Yeah. Yeah. The Swiss Family Robinson.
Alan, what's your answer? I feel like you just asked that so we can finally ask you.
no.
120 episodes.
I have not been. Rent is what got me into theater, and
Andrew.
I know you guys made a face. I feel like this is a whole other episode. Rent is what got me into theater, it was my version of, Hamilton is what Hamilton is doing for kids these days. Get off my lawn. So for me, that's got a level of emotional attachment and nostalgia that makes it really special for me.
Let me understand something. Are you watching this only once a day, or are you watching it whenever you turn the TV on?
You can only see it every time you go to the theater, which is as often or as little as you want.
I thought we were watching this on TV.
Oh, well, interpret it as you will. One show. Well, this is a musical theater focused podcast.
But
so.
you don't have to watch it every day.
I like
No,
how we've already
no.
done our final rundown. People think
You're
the
not
show's
allowed to
over.
watch anything else.
Because to me, I thought you were setting up a situation that sounded like hell to me.
I'm on
Where I
an
was
island
forced
with
to
the
watch
entire
the same
cast of
show
Newsies, and they'll
every
only
day of
perform
my
for me.
life.
All right. You're in Groundhog Day, right? Okay. Here we go.
I like that situation. You're in Groundhog Day. There's only one show playing in the local theater, but it
There
has
you go.
whatever cast you want, and
There you
that's
go.
it.
Also,
What is
you
it?
could never die, and the show doesn't end, and you can't leave the theater.
You can only eat one cheese for the rest of your life.
And you cannot poop. You can only.
Well, if you eat that much cheese, you're not going to poop.
Oh my
All right.
God.
We have
Chaos.
to end it. We have to end it.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. It has been a legit blast. I hope both of you will come on in the future. If not, I'm very blessed for this time that we had today. It was a great joy. Thank you for opening up about the experience of Head Over Heels and letting us talk about our experience with you. It has been a joy. Anything else you want to say before we actually wrap this up?
Bree, I've never met Bree. I mean, I just want to go back to that.
All right, you're trapped in a room with Bree, and you have to watch one movie. What is it?
All right, we'll see you next time on Musicals with Cheese.